No charges left. Last player
Oh, that was so sad.
Valorant is slower than that girl in high school who genuinely couldn't comprehend why a ton of bricks and a ton of feathers weighed exactly the same. In a world of snails, the tortoise reigns supreme, and her name is Jett. Forget everything you've ever learned about Valorant, because Jett really doesn't care about whatever preconceived notions you have about your playtime. Players who aim to embrace this agent should also plan to get proficient at submachine guns and assault rifles, as your insane mobility allows these classes to thrive when you're always able to run circles around the other team. Shotguns on the other hand are also extremely deadly in the hands of a good Jett player, as they're the only class of weapon that isn't affected by aim when your feet aren't touching the ground. Feel free to use any dumb danger zone bullshit you can imagine, knowing that your bullets aren't going to curve into another dimension by simply moving 0.1 cm to either side. When pushing into points, you'll want to be the first person to be hosing enemy players, but that doesn't mean your team shouldn't be right behind you. The military saying that there should be no man left behind doesn't mean shit in Valorant, and if dashing in like an absolute maniac allows the rest of your team to clean up the awestruck enemy players that are happily painting you with bullets, then you should consider this an absolute win. One of the foundations of the field of economics is the assumption that people make rational decisions, and the people on the enemy team will subconsciously think this about you as a player. With this in mind, no self-respecting Jett main would pass up on the opportunity to pull off a flashy and near impossible move, almost entirely devoid of any logical reasoning, because they understand that this bafflingly inconsistent decision making is the lifeblood of this agent's success. Jett players will only be able to dash once per round. However, players should feel free to use this in any circumstance that they perceive will give them any advantage whatsoever. Getting to the spike slightly faster, rushing to close off entry routes, or using the tried and true run like a bitch move are all valid ways to get value from this ability. The worst case is that you'll just have to murder 2 members of the other team to get it refreshed, but for someone as insanely mobile as yourself, this shouldn't present a problem. More interesting uses for the dash are to bamboozle a sniper peeking a particular angle, viciously hunting down survivors after the round has concluded, and countering a Viper ultimate by overwhelming them with your neutron style. Jett's Updraft ability, on the other hand, can be used much more defensively, as when players are so fixated on keeping their crosshair at head level, simply setting up camp at a location slightly above what's usually accessible is enough to make the other team adopt Stevie Wonder levels of game sense. Just keep in mind that outside of a few specific circumstances, using this ability while engaged with an enemy will usually just make you an easy target, while also making your own aim entirely redundant. Moving on, Jett's smokes can be extremely useful at almost all times during a round. Unlike most other abilities that are designed to obscure sight lines, Jett can throw her smokes with no downtime, but more importantly can stick them to surfaces. Aimed high enough, Jett players can pull off one-sided bullshit where you're able to clearly see peeking players while they're left wondering how you managed to fit that enormous brain in a human-sized skull. Another interesting detail is that the smokes last just long enough to cover an entire spike defusal. Do with this information what you will. We now come to her ultimate ability, which allows her to summon 5 knives to either throw individually or all at once. Each knife does 50 damage on the body or 100 to the head, and you'll be able to shoot them perfectly straight, regardless of whether you're moving or in the air. Depending on how much of a gamer you are, the knives will either let you dominate another team entirely or prove to be about as much value as buying a sound system with 55 monthly repayments. Many players may even decide to use her knives as a substitute to a primary weapon, allowing an already very cost-effective agent to be moved into the category of cheap bitch with a knife collection, truly the most dangerous character of all. A few notable points are that players can put away and continue using knives over the round they were activated. Kills with knives will refresh her entire stock, and they, for whatever fucking reason, refuse to work while attached to ropes. The most important thing you really need to learn is that her ultimate ability is probably going to get you fucked up more times than it actually gets you any results. Because most of the time, even guns that are doing things they were never designed to do will probably be able to perform better than this black magic Korean bullshit. Just find an AFK player and convince your team that you outplayed them like a normal fucking person. Class dismissed.